who couldn't pay back, and then bundling all these financial instruments into instruments called credit default swaps and selling it to other companies as insurance, until finally it becomes a contagion and becomes a multi-trillion-dollar disaster that affects the whole world.
But till the day before they melt down,
Yeah.
all these people in Goldman Sachs were the true role models. They were the leaders. Everybody wanted to be them.
Yeah, everybody wanted to be the next Goldman Sachs.
Well,
Because nobody knew then what they were doing.
To do things. Iceland
Yeah,
was
Iceland.
an example of how a country should be.
Yeah.
Just the day before.
That was the day before
Just
the
the day
global.
before, because
Yeah.
they lose, something like that.
And then
That's why they
eventually Iceland declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Nobody, because nobody knew that the Goldman Sachs people, Lloyd Blankfein and the others, they were not really doing values-based decisions. They were dealing. That's why there was a Senate congressional hearing. So, to whom much is given, much is required. For us, in our respective job areas, we always have to remind ourselves that we have to be that principled leader. To always, as much as possible, do things right. Do the right thing. Based on values, based on what is right. Because in our hands, it's not just the future of our career, or the career of, say, about 25 or 30 people under us, but the rest of the company. Because we are part of the company. As department managers, as managers of TK, you are all leaders contributing to making sure that TK is able to attain that chartered course to become from number 5 to number 4 to number 2 to number 1 in what? 2 years? 3 years? Depending on the strategic. So hence the importance of leadership. Okay. Issues involved. Power. Okay. Style of leadership or timing, which we somehow touched on. Ability to understand people, ability to inspire followers to apply their full potential. Power. What is power? Gentlemen, freedom. What is power? That is important for us as leaders. In fact, I would even say that is probably 80% of what we need as leaders. Without it, we cannot become real leaders. We cannot become real leaders without power. Power is basically the ability, the capability to make things happen in the organization. Through what? Decision-making skills, technical skills, leadership skills, motivation skills, combination of all these skills. Hence the reason why, incidentally, you have that competency directory, right? You have it, right? You have that competency directory in your job description.
We call that scope competencies.
Scope competencies. And when you combine all these competencies, 12, 24 of them, that makes you the total leader now. Capable of charting that course. The course that we talked about earlier. So power, the ability to make things happen, based on our capabilities. Hence the need for continuous enhancement of skills, of abilities. Style of leadership or priming development. Okay, we will be discussing that specifically for the next slide. Ability to understand people. Okay, also the Maslow's hierarchy of needs here. And ability to inspire followers. Food for thought. Management. Okay. So earlier we mentioned that management. Remember the first slide. Management. BS management. When we made that description, BS management. Management is a broader discipline. Okay, you have their planning, organizing, leading others. Okay. So you have the management, manager, and then you have leader, which is under management. So we're saying here, manager administers, and then leader innovates. When we say manager administer, what is that? Administer what? Administer the resources, yeah, correct. Especially capital resources, the budget, and all. Paperwork, even. Administer. The leader innovates through creativity, finding ways, through group problem solving, through synergy, by meeting his people, asking for ideas, through brainstorming. Of course, again, with the leverage of time, using availability of time, okay? And finding better ways to doing things, innovation, creativity. Manager maintains, it says here, the manager maintains a peaceful situation, status quo. But we're saying here, the dynamic leader develops. In other words, the leader is not static, but dynamic. The leader always raises the bar. You know, like Olympics, Citius, Altius, Fortius. Raises the bar, always. Develops. Not static, but dynamic. Always improve. Manager focuses on systems and structures, policies, paperwork, the leader focuses on people, because at the end of the day, it's really the people, all of us, leaders and the people under us, who will make things happen. Have you tried giving it some thought? Every year we have new Microsoft, Apple. Every year we have new technology. Every year we have new inventions. But at the end of the day, who's going to operate that? Still the people. The leaders and the people who will be using the information from all that technology. Manager relies on controls, SOPs and others, very administrative oriented. Leaders inspires trust, meaning teamwork, as you mentioned earlier, teamwork, the need for teamwork. Manager has an eye for the bottom line, okay, because we have to admit it, at the end of the day, it's still the financial statement, it's still the balance sheet, yes. But also we must not forget the leader should have an eye for horizon, meaning what's out there on the frontier. What else can we do? What else can we do to improve the company, to improve the situation in the company, to help the company move up from number 10 to number 5 to number 1 in just a span of 2-3 years. Manager does things right. Here is a question here I'd like to ask you, gentlemen. Manager does things right. Leader does the right thing. Where lies the difference?
This is a judgment. The leader is making a judgment, where the manager is doing documented, stuff which already exists.
Yeah, it's judgment calls. The manager does things right based on guidelines, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. We do that because as leaders, we are also managers. We're also part of the administration. We also do paperwork. We also do the annual budgets. We also do OPEX, operational expense, fixed costs, and everything. Okay? Manager does things right, but the leader does the right thing. We all have the heads and the senses when to skip that protocol and using judgment call and using justification. We tell management, okay, we have to do this because I believe this will benefit our company. For instance, if you need a very skilled person, and that person happens to be, say, already age 50, and based on our protocol, the maximum age for hiring a certain skilled person is age 45. So the guy that you want on board is age 50. Based on the protocol, can you still hire him? Can you still get him? No. Because based on the protocol, it's only until age 45. But using judgment call, and as a leader, as a manager, using justification, you tell management, no, this guy is very skilled. I used him before in many operations, and I justify that this guy will bring in the returns that we need. Despite the fact that he's 5 years over age, the maximum age. We make judgment calls.
It is
Neither
not permitted in
does
today's
the right
operating
thing.
environment.
Neither does the right, yes.
It is not permitted in today's operating environments where your SOPs are the final word. You can't bypass SOPs and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to hire these people, I will hire somebody 70 years old."
Okay, but,
Our guiding mantra is the SOP.
okay, but the
Right? As
important
far all
thing,
of this is concerned, we are on the port side of the stream. We are managers. We rely on controls. We have to look at bottom line. We have to do things right. We don't have to do the right thing.
oh,
We are not afforded that luxury of doing the right thing.
No, I disagree with that. I mean, I don't think, maybe, you're not aware, but like we are talking about identifying risks, whether, each and every risk and every hazard in a profession can be identified and documented. No, it can't. The rest is left to your judgment and you're doing this.
a lot is based on judgment, a lot is based. Of course, we have the guidelines, that's the backbone, the SOPs. yes.
Judgment has to be based on something, no?
That is your experience.
Exactly.
Based on experience, based on your analysis, critical thinking, hence the need for justification. Then you justify. 2, management, subject, as stated. As per, number 1, 2, 3, and therefore I sign. The important thing is you made your position clear. And whether top management or says yes or no, the important thing is you did the right thing. Because at the end of the day, it's important for us to be able to tell ourselves, and at the end of the day, I did the right thing. And that makes us a happy person. As later on, when we go to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that relieves us from the stress, because we did the right thing. The important thing is we did the right thing for that person, we did the right thing for this situation, for the total organization. Okay, so this is now going to the specific leadership style that we talked about earlier. Remember a few slides ago we talked about autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire? Okay. So if you're using the XY axis now, you remember your statistics, X and then the Y coordinates. So if you have there 9, middle will be 5, right? Okay. So there. Leadership style, they're saying here, have you ever came across the name Blake and Newton? Robert Blake, Jane Newton, University of the, but they became very popular in Harvard because they came up with this managerial grid. Okay, so they're saying that the leadership style really depends on how the leader makes use of his concern for production or task and people. It's just the two. It's just the two. It's just concern for task or production, and concern for people. Okay. Now, if you're heavy on production, okay, and low on people, that's 9-1, right? That's the autocratic or authoritarian. But on the opposite side of the pole, if you're heavy on people, on relationships, but not so much on production, it's 1-9, that's the country club management style. Now, if you're middle of the, yes,
That is holiday package.
yeah. And then the middle of the road, middle of concern for task or production or the work, and middle of the road for concern for relationships or people, it's 5-5, middle of the road management style. And then, of course, this is what was said earlier about the laissez-faire, which is termed by college management orientation. Now, based on the studies of Blake and Newton, they're saying here that the more effective leadership style is team management, which is 9-9. Okay? Which is always high on production or task, or high for people. That's why it's 9-9. 9 here, 9 there. Okay? They're saying that, but that is based on their opinion, the authors of the managerial grid. But again, earlier, as I mentioned, leadership also evolves. Over time, after they wrote this and released this in Harvard back in the 70s, it became really apparent that the more effective leadership style really is the situational leadership style, not just one leadership style. We cannot be just one leadership style or another. We can use this autocratic, we can use country club, even though it depends on the situation. Different kinds of situation. It could be a crisis, it could be because of low skills. Now, if your people are high skilled, highly skilled, let's say the crew that you're using now was the same crew you used 2 years ago. And that crew was very effective. High team spirit, spirit de corps and everything. Would you still use high task, high production? No. You'd probably do this, country club or middle of the road. Why? Because you've already tested them. You already worked with them, you already handled them, you already managed them 2 years ago, these guys. And these guys are cool. So again, that's situation. But what if the crew that you're using now is very new? Or poorly skilled? Or coming from other companies? Inexperienced. Hence, there, you have to be dynamic now. You have to be concerned for task, concerned for area for the company. So again, shifting, the ability to shift like a Formula One, like a Fittipaldi or a answer, ready to change gears anytime based on the situation. Okay, so this managerial grid was authored by two management scientists, Robert Blake and Jane Newton, and they released a book called The Managerial Grid. But over time, this evolved also. But we're using this as a basis now for looking at the basic task of leaders, which is concerned for tasks, for production, and for people. Because, when somebody asks you, for example, what's your leadership style? What's your leadership style? What's your leadership style? You begin to think, I'm sometimes authoritarian, sometimes I'm democratic. Okay, but when you say leadership style, it really just looks at how you play these two factors. Your concern for task or production, and your concern for people. So this is your juggling act now. It's always people, task, people, task, people, task. Now, how you manage the two will now determine the kind of leadership style. Okay. Now, which we discussed earlier, power, style, and style. Okay. We have a tool here on behavioral sciences called the Johari window. This is seldom used. That's why I appreciate it when I saw it a few days ago when we met here in the faculty, 2 days ago. This is a tool for self-awareness now. You've heard of guys like John Maxwell or Gary Hamner or Prahalad, the management gurus. So they're heavy into self-awareness. They're heavy into self-awareness. It says that in order to become effective, you have to first know yourself. You have to know first yourself before you become. In other words, what we're saying here is you cannot share what you do not have. In other words, you have to know first what your strengths are, your weaknesses are. In other words, your abilities. Okay? So, Johari window is a tool used for self-awareness. Okay? For self-awareness. Now, again, using the XY axis. There are things that you know to yourself, unknown to self. Okay? Things that you know about yourself, and things that you do not know about yourself. Okay. But as promised, John, we'll be giving them materials also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that they Not necessarily to take pictures anymore.